Hello and welcome to the video version of my journal. I'm Steffanie Rivers. Come on into the conversation. I am multicasting on several platforms. So you could be watching on YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter. On whatever platform you're watching. And I need to add threads to the lineup. I'll work on doing that. But on whatever platform you're watching, we want to welcome you to the conversation. Thank you so much to my growing list of subscribers. And if you're new to the conversation, I urge you to like, share, and subscribe because I know you're going to hear something that you want to share so that when I post new videos, you'll be the first to know. So now I usually don't speak on relationship issues because regardless of the public image that we are shown, we never really know what's going on behind closed doors. In the Black community, most of us looked at Will and Jada's marriage as our relationship goals image, only to realize that their foundation has cracks in it. One arm is in a sling and one leg is shorter than the other. So when I saw the issue that not one, not two, but there are three relationships, different couples that are going through things this past week alone, it just made me want to talk about it, made me want to speak on it. Shout out to Candy Burrs. So, if you frequent social media, I know that you've heard about KeKe Palmer and her boyfriend Darius Jackson having a passive aggressive disagreement over KeKe's attire that she wore to an Usher concert. I think she went to Vegas because he is doing. I actually was going to go to the Usher concert in Vegas with my friend Phyllis, but we ended up going to see Silk Sonic couple of like a year ago, and then now Usher has come back around to do his residency again in Vegas. I think that's where he was. Anyway, KeKe went to a Usher concert with a friend of hers, and she posted a number of photos. So I'll show you the photos if you haven't seen them. They're on her Instagram page, and essentially she just had a baby about 5 months ago, and she looks fabulous. The body is body, and this is a picture of her and her girlfriend, and they went to the Usher show. And as a mother of a newborn, I'm sure that KeKe was feeling like this is my time to get away for a little mini girls trip, and to get away from being the mommy of a newborn. And so she looks amazing, especially for someone who just had a baby like 5 months ago. So in a Twitter post, her son's father, baby's daddy, Darius, said, "It's the outfit though. You a mom." And he didn't at KeKe, but his comments were directed towards KeKe. And KeKe responded. She didn't at Darius, but she responded by posting more photos of her in the fit that he didn't like. Now, one of the things I want to bring up is I noticed that he said a lot about her outfit, but he didn't say anything about how she was smooching up against Usher. Somebody posted this video of her at the concert. And so he's singing to her, serenading her. And I think she lives in Atlanta. He lives in Atlanta. So they probably cross paths along the way at some point. But yeah, Darius didn't say anything about her smooching up on Usher, but he had a lot to say about her outfit. So yeah, so she was turning around and showing everything. And then at some point, when Darius started to get some feedback from a lot of I call them Pomeranians. That's what I call KeKe Palmer's fan club. When he started to get a lot of feedback from that, he essentially ended his Twitter page, his Twitter account. But before he left, he ended up saying, "We live in a generation where a man of the family doesn't want the wife and mother to his kids to showcase booty cheeks to please others, and he gets told how much of a hater that he is." So since that time, I hear that Darius is back on Twitter, but he scrubbed his um, Twitter account of KeKe. So I don't know if they broke up, but they can't be, too much broke up because they have a newborn baby. So hopefully they will get past this. But so I wanted to talk about that today because there are lessons in this, and the lesson that have always known, but the lesson in this case is communication is key, but one-on-one communication is key. Not chastising me in front of a million people, communication, and expecting me to just not say anything because she responded as somebody might who feels like she's being chastised in front of a million people. So you don't like what I wore? Well, here's more of what you don't like what I wore. And that's exactly what she did. And then she went on to talk about how great of a time she had, how she wished she had posted more pictures. And then it was just a snowball that ended up them now being upset with each other. So I want to also say a lesson for anybody who doesn't know this already. Being a man of the house or whatever he said in response to the backlash means more than fathering a baby and then moving into an apartment together. It's more to it than that. At least it's more to it than that for me. So if you want to comment while I'm live, you can go and if you're on Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn or YouTube, I will see your messages. But is um, when should you throw in the towel in a relationship? I don't think that they should throw in the towel. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just asking you, when do things get to the point where you're like, you know what, this is too much for me, or this is not what I signed up for? And certainly that's something that you would want to figure out before you have children with somebody, because at that point, it takes, you're going to be needing to put yourself aside and to be responsible for bringing up a whole person and making them a productive citizen. So when I'm not speaking, that was the first relationship. And then here's the second one. When I'm not speaking on social justice issues, I have been known to do celebrity interviews. So for the past few seasons, I've been doing the exit interviews for the people on the OWN Network's Black dating show called Ready to Love. So when people get thrown off of the season because they're told you're not ready to love, then I do the exit interviews. And so one of the people that I interviewed was Rashid Floyd and Simone Redwine. Now they live in Houston, and they met on the Ready to Love show. And I'm gonna bring up the interview that I did with them. So this is me interviewing Simone and Rashid back in February. It was to celebrate the OWN Network's 100th episode of Ready to Love. The season. It's like in its seventh or eighth season. In fact, they're now going to be. It's premiering probably next week in Dallas Fort Worth. And so this is Simone talking about it. Simone is an attorney, and Rashid is a luxury car salesperson. So I interviewed them about how they managed to stay together and all of that. So essentially, This was in February, so 5 months ago, right around the time when KeKe was having a baby. They were talking about getting, married. He proposed to her actually on an episode of a following season of Ready to Love, and so she had already moved into his house, and they were preparing to get married. So I was asking them about the nuptials and where they were going to get married. And I think they said they were going on vacation in Bali, as a matter of fact, because I had been to Bali. So yeah, that's Simone and Rashid. And then come to find out in I'm trying to stop the video. Let me see where it is. Okay. So come to find out, Father's Day of a couple of weeks ago, this couple called it quits. And they went on, you can go on YouTube and look them up, Rashid Floyd and Simone Redwine. And in fact, Ready to Love is produced by Will Packer, and it's the host of the show is nephew Tommy of Steve Harvey's morning show, nephew Tommy Miles. And so, yeah, we were doing the interview 5 months ago, and they had set a wedding date, and Simone had already moved in with Rashid, and she later found out, like around, I don't know when she found out, but it came out that there's some issues going on that caused them to call the wedding off. And so one of the things was, according to Simone, because she's done a few interviews, come to find out that Rashid's credit score was not up to par. His income to debt ratio was an issue for her, as well as it should have been an issue for him. The house they were living in is in his mama's name. The wedding date, they had to postpone it twice because Rashid, according to him as well as her, didn't have his part of the money for the wedding. And they were going from a lavish wedding down to lackluster wedding. And so at some point, Simone said that she didn't feel like she needed to change up what she wanted to do in her life, or what her plans were for her wedding. She didn't want to downgrade that because the person who she was involved with wasn't ready. So it wasn't all about the money, but it was about the things that she later found out. And that included, she had to do a background check basically on him because the math wasn't mathing. Everything wasn't adding up as to what he was telling her. And she voted with her feet and she moved out of the house, and they ended the relationship, and the wedding is now canceled. So Rashid admitted that his money management issues that he had, that he still has, were the reason that his first marriage ended in divorce. And so it seems like he still hadn't learned from the issues that ended his first marriage, because he was still practicing those same mismanagement money issues while he was in his relationship with Simone. And because she is an attorney and she is a private investigator and she helps people with money issues, she saw the red flags, and she admits that she is a fixer. And so his bad habits in the relationship, she initially started out saying, I'm going to help fix him, and then, or help fix the issues. And then at some point it came down to the lies, okay, that he kept telling, or he wasn't upfront and transparent with her, with somebody who you feel like is going to be your wife and or your husband. You need to be transparent on some things, even if in this case it ends the relationship, because you are taking the other person's choice away from them if you're not being honest with them about what you got going on and what you don't have going on. And so for her, it became too much. She said in interviews that he was more of a hustler type dude. He was more of a, let me get this side hustle going. And he's so busy side hustling that he really doesn't have a true income stream that she felt comfortable with marrying somebody, and that's how they roll with their money. And so that is a part of the reason why she had to end it. But she didn't end it soon enough for a lot of people because she was trying to fix him. And then some people, their comments were, why do some Black women feel like they have to build a man when we should be looking for a whole man? And so Simone realizes, and I think I don't know if she admitted it, but she said it, but she didn't admit that I am a fixer and I try to fix people. I've tried to fix men, or not necessarily for herself, but she's in the business of helping people. So when she saw Rashid needing help, she tried to fix him instead of looking at him as this is going to be my life partner. And I need for him to be a whole person already, not looking for me to come in and step in and take him as he is and fix on him. Because this is not supposed to be a job that I bring home. I'm not supposed to bring my work home with me. You're supposed to be a whole person for me. So when she started realizing it was going to be more than her fixing on him, that he needed to come with some convictions about what he needs to do, then that's when she realized this is going to be too much for me. So what about you? When do you think it's too much for you? Is a person's credit score? Does it have to be a certain number for you to say, okay, I can work with you? Or are you willing to work with anybody because maybe your credit score ain't that good either? So, or are you looking for somebody to be better than your credit score because you need somebody to help you? So at any rate, that's what's going on. That was what was going on with Simone and Rashid. So the lessons learned in that relationship that I got from it, just from looking at the interviews after their breakup, because again, the image that they portrayed when I did that interview back in February was everything is good, everything is on track, we got it, we love each other. And so only apparently behind the scenes, things where she was working on, being the fixer, and it just wasn't working out. So the lessons here in that relationship, if we I think that women in general, we try to fix people. We try to be ride or die. We try to save them and let them know I got your back. When we need to let that man fail, we need to let him learn from his failures, and we need to let him figure out how to pick himself up without us always being there to fix it, because we aren't doing him good. We're doing more harm than good, because we're doing him more harm than good. Okay. We're showing that we are the best partner for him when we really need to be searching for the best partner for us. And if he's not the best partner for us because we're always fixing on stuff, then what are we're really setting ourselves up to be the fixer for the rest of our relationship. And sometimes that's, you're going into a marriage always fixing on stuff when it's like driving a car that always breaks down. At some point, damn, I mean, I know how to change a tire. I know how to change the oil. I know how to jump start the car if the battery goes dead. But damn, I don't always want to have to do that. And if we continue to always, okay, let me fix it, let me do this, let me jump through it, let me do that, that person is never going to be the man that we need him to be. So quit treating your man like your son. If you want a man, then you need a whole man. your son. You don't want another child. You don't want a son. You want a man. So that's the lesson that I got from that. And the next lesson that I got, and if you haven't already, be sure to like, share, and subscribe so that when I post new videos, you'll be the first to know. The next lesson what is when a person shows you who they are, believe them. If they have bad credit, they got bad credit for a reason. Most people have bad credit because they don't pay their bills and or they don't pay their bills on time. Well, why don't they do that? Because they don't have the money or they don't have enough money, or the money that they have, they're doing something else with it besides being responsible and paying the bills. So that is an indication of what that person is likely to do in the future as a reliable partner or being an unreliable partner. And that's not to say that's a bad thing, because I at one point used to have bad credit, but I at some point said, Steffanie, you need to fix this. If it's you don't have enough money, then you need to stop. You need to lower your expenses so that the money that you have fits your bills, or you need to make more money. I said that for myself. The man has to say that for himself, or a woman has to say that for herself. You shouldn't have to come into somebody's life if that's not your job to do that and try to fix on people. They have to figure stuff out for themselves sometimes. And so that is the other lesson that I got from that. Now, you want to figure this stuff out before you become emotionally involved with a person. You don't want to come in and end up loving somebody and then have to make conscious decisions and you're emotionally attached. So you want to make conscious decisions about this person, whether or not they're going to be an asset or a liability in your life before you get emotionally attached. And if they don't add to your life, then they probably going to subtract from your life. Nobody is just going to stand still and not do anything in life. You either moving forward or you're moving backwards. Because if you're standing still, the gravity is going to pull you down and push you back. Okay. So there. So the last couple that I want to talk about is also connected to Steve Harvey. And if you watch the Steve Harvey morning show, you know there's a segment of the show called Strawberry Letter. And that's when they talk to, they give advice to people about relationships, and they give advice to people about marriage. And so Strawberry Letter, I know if I don't know if you know Strawberry Letter to the Brothers Johnson, Strawberry Letter 22, that song. So anyway, the show is named after, the segment of the show is named after Shirley Strawberry. She's the co-host on the Steve Harvey morning show. And a couple of years ago, she got married to this guy on the left. His name is, let me look it up because I forgot it. That's Shirley Strawberry right there. She got married a couple of years ago, like 2015-ish, to Ernesto Williams. And Shirley knew that Ernesto Williams had a criminal record when she married him. So that wasn't a big deal for him because she loved him. And you know what? I understand everybody who goes to prison is not a criminal. But there are some people who go to prison and they need to be there because they were criminals or are criminals. So Shirley Strawberry knew that Ernesto Williams had done prison time for fraud and armed robbery. Okay. But she said she loved him and she put that aside. And now it looks like he still is a criminal. According to the prosecutors in and around Atlanta, Georgia. That's them. That's their wedding. And so you can look all this up online. But essentially, I'll give you the nutshell version. Ernesto Williams is accused of being a deadbeat tenant. He's accused of owing tens of thousands of dollars in rent on a house that he and his side chick lived in, and his partner in crime. He was partner in crime, side chick living in this house. They didn't pay the rent and they got evicted. And it turns out Ernesto Williams is basically Kevin Hunter 2.0, Wendy Williams' ex, living off the good name and graces of his wife. Okay, a couple of weeks ago, around Father's Day, Ernesto was arraigned in a ATL area courtroom, and it was live streamed. He's charged with molesting a minor child. He's charged with having pornography, child pornography on his computer, and he's charged with fraud and forgery in some other shady real estate deals. Now, because Ernesto already was convicted of a felon, he was immediately arrested back in October of last year. So he's been in jail because I guess he couldn't make bond. I don't know. Or maybe they didn't give him a bond. I don't know all that. All I know is he was arrested. He was in jail being held to wait for his arraignment or his court case. And prosecutors said they recorded calls of Ernesto between his wife and his side chick. And Ernesto was talking about asking his wife's boss to use a house for him to stay in if he fled the country to evade prosecution. Now, that's all I'm going to say about that. I'm going to let y'all put two and two together. I'm going to let y'all go look up the rest for yourself. But it is Ernesto's wife and the boss are not said to have had anything to do with the crimes that Ernesto was accused of. But I already told you everything you need to know, and you can go look it up. That's all I'm gonna say about it. The lessons learned, and let me stop the video because so they're just repeating it essentially. So the lessons learned in this for me are that past performance is the best indicator of future results. Okay. Past performance, whatever a person did, they bound to still do it later on because that's how they operate. That doesn't mean that a person cannot change, because people can change, but most people don't change. Okay. So we have to decide if we are willing to put our reputation on the line and our livelihood on the line, dealing with somebody who has a sketchy past. Okay. So everybody has done some stuff, that they're not proud of. So you have to decide, is what they have done worth me risking my livelihood, my reputation, my bank account, all the things that are going to be come into play if they have access to that. And that's what the bottom line is, because at a certain age, after you've built some stuff and you've acquired some things and you just live life, that love, and words of Tina Turner, what's love got to do with it? It's just like you love a person, or you might feel a certain way about a person, but love does not conquer all. You need to make sure you are protecting your assets, whatever that is, the car, the house, your bank account, your retirement, your good name, your streams of income. All of that could be placed in jeopardy dealing with the wrong person. Okay. You know it and I know it. And I'm not just saying the wrong man. I'm saying to men dealing with the wrong woman, getting married to the wrong person, dating the wrong person, giving the wrong person access to your family and your reputation and all that. You have to make sure you're doing the right thing by yourself, as well as your family, as well as your reputation. And so another lesson that I have learned along the way, and that this has taught me, is that you have to ask the right questions. And when you ask questions, listen to the answers. Okay. And if it don't add up, then ask some more questions. And if it keeps not adding up, then vote with your feet and be moving on out. Okay. I've had to do that a couple of times. If it just doesn't make sense and the answers that you're getting don't make sense, just leave, quit. If they don't have enough respect for you to give you like a decent answer, and you have to like be a sleuth all the time, then I don't have time to be sleuthing. Okay, I'm trying to move on up. I don't have time to be sleuthing. So at any at any rate, ask pertinent questions, listen twice as much as you talk. Everybody wants a great relationship. Everybody say, my grandparents, I was dating this guy once. He always used to talk about how his grandparents had the best relationship. They were married for 40 years. They loved each other, this, that, and the third. But they went through some things, I'm sure, but they did some right things right by each other. So people want a pretty picture, but they're not willing to do the work to get there. So whether it's a job, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a business, whether it's weight loss, all the above, if you want it, you got to work at it. Okay. So some people just want it, but they don't want to work at it. And once you realize that you can't do this by yourself, you can't be in a relationship with someone and you're the only one working at it. It's just not going to work. Maybe it's working for them, but it has to work for everybody. So if it doesn't work, then yeah, you don't need to be in it. So that's my take on what these just three people. I mean, do you ever really know anybody? You think somebody, you think you're all on the same page, you start having kids together, or you move in, or you get married, and then you find out what now? So people are just not genuine. And I guess we're at the stage in relationships where you just have to really do a background check. You really have to have a private investigator to check people out, because people are just not being honest. And we need to take our HIV test and show each other the results. We need to get a background test, a check, and on each other. We got to what was the other one? Credit score, check the credit score. Not that you having a certain amount of a credit score is going to make or break it, the relationship, but just so I know, I needs to know. What was that movie Life? I got to know, Claude. I just got to know. It's just something. I don't take my choice away from me. I'm gonna say this last thing and I'm gonna let you go. I lived in North Carolina. I was a new reporter, and I've written a book about this, but I think it'll make a great movie. But anyway, I lived in North Carolina. It was my first career job. And I met a guy at a TV station, because I was in TV and radio and all of that. And anyway, we never dated, but we started a business together. Come to find out, long story short, he had been to prison actually, for indecent liberties with children and for bank robbery, conspiracy, all of these things. And when I found out, I broke off our business relationship, and then he started stalking me. So but before he started stalking me, he was like, if I would have told you, you wouldn't have gone into business with me. You're damn right I wouldn't have. And that's my choice. Don't take a person's choice away from them just because it's going to not go your way. You just have to live with the consequences of what you have done or not have done. And don't try to wrap me up in your bid. I'm like, dude, you're right. I would not have gone into business with you. And so he ended up stalking me. And so I have written a story, a book about it that I have never published, that I think, as time goes on, is something that I look back on that really changed me a lot in how I deal with people. And so I've become a better person because of the negative things, that, as well as most of us, because of the negative things we go through, we are better people. In fact, the other day, my tire went flat. And so one of the things this dude used to do was he would come and slash my tires. And then every morning before I got up to go to work, I would have to get up early enough to look outside to see, are my tires slashed? Because if they are, I need to have time to change my tire and still have time to get to work on time. And the other day when my tire went flat because I hit a nail or whatever, I was saying, I looked back on that thing and I was like, yep, you know how to change a tire because of, and I was starting to remember stuff. So that was one of the good things that came out of it. I know how to change a tire in about 15 minutes. I ain't gonna be waiting on nobody to come and help me change a tire. I'm gonna get out there and get it done and be on my way. But because of that, so anyway, I digress for a second. But anyway, those are the relationship issues that I see a lot of people going through. So the question for you is, are you willing to go through what is your enough is enough point in your relationship? When should you throw in the towel? So probably next week I'll be back on my social justice platform, because I know something else is bound to happen that I'm going to want to talk about. But in the meantime, to find out more about the things that I care about, you can go to the written version of my journal. That's at eurweb.com. Thank you so much and have a super day.